Help wanted. Help wanted. Anybody interested in being the Chargers OC?
What do you call a hippie's wife? Mississippi.
Just give me every time. Every time.
Hold up. It's the Chargers Squad. Everything Los Angeles Chargers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Chargers Squad Show, starting now.
Hey, our first Chargers off-season squad show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Didn't think it'd be this soon, but here we are. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA, dating back to 2007 for ESPN in LA and ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio, where I worked with Jim Daniels and Kenyon Barner, 10 years in the National Football League, 3 rings during that tenure. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks. Today's episode sponsored by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Well, guys, ugly loss to end the season for the Chargers. Everyone during a, by the way, very popular season wrap-up show for us there. I think we had over 10,000 views, which was really cool. So thanks to you guys for watching. And
appreciate it.
And the comments focused heavily on firing Greg Roman. And it's not often that, the fans' prayers are answered that quickly. I'm not surprised in the least bit. But nonetheless, Roman out, and don't let the door hit you in the ass kind of a thing. We're still friends, I hope. Been fun, been nice, but you got to go. So we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to spend some time, maybe the entire show, going over the candidates, because there are a lot. I have 25.
Do we have that much time?
I have 25 candidates that people have spent time digging into as the potential next Chargers OC. But my question for you first is, how do you consume football now that the Chargers, because there is a difference to covering a team when you're getting paid for it and when you're just watching. So to me, I'm watching just kind of the as we've talked about over and over, the postseason playoff football is very different than regular season football. So it's a lot easier to get involved, when your team is out. But Kenyon, how do you watch as a former player when your team is out?
Well, see, here's the thing. My team went out the same time the Chargers went out. Shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles. So, when you're watching this, for me as a player, it doesn't change. It's just the excitement of the game. And especially during this time, it's much easier to watch football during the playoffs when things actually matter, when there's something at stake. And obviously every game's important, but for me, it doesn't really change. I want to see good hits, hard hits, good quarterback play, good play throughout the field. So it don't really change for me. The same approach that I have watching the Chargers game is the same approach that I take to watching any other game. It's hard for me to enjoy a game as a player, in all honesty, because you're dissecting every little thing. Like, you're looking at it from a completely different lens. You've been in these meeting rooms for so long that you've become conditioned to look at the game through a different set of eyes. So it's hard for me to sit back and just enjoy football as a player.
Can I just say ditto? I didn't play, but it's the same thing. When I started doing sports, my first sports job was stadium stringer. They send you out the stadium. Oh, let's check out Jim Daniels and see what the Dodgers are up to, And after I did that a couple of weeks, I was like, is this a job? Can I just keep doing this? I go to baseball games every single day and you pay me? I thought that was fantastic. But it changed my perspective on sports. When you start reporting on it, you look at it through a different lens. And actually, I say I have to prefer it really over the way I was before in my fandom, because in my fandom, when my team was done, I'm not even hardly paying attention. But now the excitement is still there for me, because I'm watching to see if things that I think come to fruition, if teams do and players do what I think they can and will and might do. And it stays just as interesting for me, really, after my team has gone down. It really doesn't matter to me. It's the same excitement level for me all the way.
Yeah, I watch to do two things. I watch to see what the Pats are going to do, because I kind of live by that. It's hard. Don't get me wrong, but you kind of root for the team that beat your team, because if they go on to win it all, you can say,
Yeah.
hey,
We lost to the champ.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's hard, and sometimes you just find a team. We always talk about this when the season's over. Who are you rooting for now? Is it the Pats, or is there another team that has just captured your imagination? And for me right now, it's so wide open. I'm kind of like, the Pats kind of impressed me. I didn't expect that at all from Drake May. I mean, that was the hope. My hope was he was going to be a rookie, and he played better than that. He didn't play like a rookie. So I'm kind of going to definitely watching them against the Texans. And I hope they beat the crap out of the Texans, because I don't like that team at all. Because they're just, a bugaboo for the Chargers. But I like that. And then I feel like this Seahawks Niners game
that's going to be a great game.
That's going to be a battle, right?
So that's a great game.
It's going to be fun to watch, just from the standpoint of being a fan. So that's kind of where I am right now. But when we look at these candidates it's funny, like, I'm surprised that there's this many, to be honest, that people have spent this much time breaking down 25 different guys. Now, granted, it's a couple of different posts. The first one from CBS, but here's the list from CBS. If you guys want to get into these are just 5 from CBS. All right. So the first one, they're all OCs right now elsewhere. The Mike LaFleur, the Rams OC. And, we could dig in deeper as we move on. But I always look at these and go, why would that guy want the job? I mean, he's the Rams OC, right? But guess what? He's not calling the plays. So that's the number one why. And as for all of these guys, I think that's the big why, right? Clay Kubiak, Niners OC, not calling the plays. It's a different level of offense that he would be able to maneuver around and be a little bit more high powered.
Sure.
Grant Udinsky, the Jacksonville offensive coordinator, Trevor Lawrence and Herbert, you could say, kind of have similarities. Clayton Adams, the Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator, not calling the plays. Declan Doyle, the Bears offensive coordinator, he's, according to this list, the most green of that, or this article, the most green of that list. So as you hear those names, guys, do any of those kind of, we lost KB. Jim, do any of those names kind of go, that seems like a good fit to me? Because, the first 3 or 4 on that list are from the Sean McVay tree.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously a very elaborate offensive play designer. So how does that, how do those names sound to you right off the bat?
No, we're trying to upgrade here. We're not going to pick up somebody that still isn't good enough to call the plays for their own team. I don't care how bright Sean McVay or anybody else is. If these guys aren't calling the plays, then they're not ready. If they're not ready for that team, I'm not bringing them into this team. No, on the wish list, you want somebody like McDaniels. I mean, I think this guy's probably going to go after another head coaching job first. And if that dries up and that opportunity doesn't come along, surely he'll go back and be an O coordinator someplace. I would love to see him designing stuff for Justin Herbert and this team and what we wind up with as far as talent goes next year. But no, anybody, if you're not calling the plays now, sorry, we're not interested. We need somebody that's actually doing the job now.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But at the same time, you got to have some sort of bait on the line, right? To get these guys, because all of those guys I just mentioned are on teams that are still in the playoff. Well, not all of them, but most of them. Obviously, Declan Doyle's still there. Right. Clayton Adams not. The Cowboys are out. Jags are out, but they made a nice run. Clay Kubiak with the Niners still in the playoffs, and Mike LaFleur of the Rams still in the playoffs. So McVay, those guys are in the McVay Shanahan world. And when you look at those two guys and those two offenses, welcome back, KB. When you look at those two guys and those two offenses being the Niners and the Rams, how do you compare them, KB, to the if you're going to steal or get one of those two coordinators, LaFleur from the Rams or Kubiak from the Niners? How do you compare those offenses to what the Chargers are doing? Because look, let's look at it this way: when Roman came in from the Ravens, the offense that he ran there was heavily influenced by the run, and the Chargers didn't have that ability, and that was a big part of Granted, injuries were part of it, but that was a big missing piece in the chemistry of why this offense didn't work. I look at also that you didn't have the right guy to call plays for Herbert as far as his ability to throw the ball. So I want a guy that can dial it up, a more high-powered offense. So when you look at the Niners offense and you look at the Rams offense and you compare it to the Chargers offense, even if those guys aren't calling the plays now, can't they come in and pick? I mean, look, Jim, these guys are going to evolve. Can't they come in and pick that up and add that to their repertoire of things to do, KB?
For me, when you look at the Niners and you look at the Rams and their OCs, Kubiak and LaFleur, you come from a Shanahan tree, and then you're coming from a McVay tree. Two offenses that are highly explosive, very creative in every sense of the word, not just the pass game, but the running game as well. You come from an offense, if you're with Kubiak over there with the 49ers, that is accustomed to using the running back in the passing game, getting the running back involved in the game, and Christian McCaffrey. And the same for the Rams. So for me, if you're going to go that route, even if they aren't calling the plays, they're still up under the tutelage of those coaches, of McVay, of Shanahan, which gives them a leg up, in my opinion. Because, again, when you're Shanahan and you're McVay, you have your hands on the buttons, and rightfully so. You're proven. You know what it takes. You know what it looks like. You know how to call the game. You know it's your offense, right? This is what you do. So I get it, and I understand. To Jim's point of, well, they're not calling it there. I wouldn't necessarily say it doesn't mean that they aren't ready. It just means that I trust myself more than I trust you. It's like my dad always says it's about washing his car. I don't care what car wash I go to. They're never going to wash my car as good as I'm going to wash my own car. I'm going to take as much care, time, and put as much effort in as I need to. So to that point, I'm still up under you learning from my dad. I learned how to wash a car up under my dad. He didn't let me just wash his car by myself. I had to follow him. But once I got my own, I knew exactly what to do, how to do it, the circumstances and the climate that I could go out and do it in, where the sun needed to be and all that, so I didn't get water spot. You know what I'm saying? I learned. And so for those OCs, even though they may not be calling the plays within those off, it doesn't necessarily mean they're ready. But I would take a chance on them and giving them the keys to the offense and saying, hey, come in and do your thing, because I know where you come from.
What about this, Jim? The last names of those guys, Kubiak, LaFleur. That means something, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. It's pedigree is, and if you're going to go with that, then, Shanahan might be the top of my list. I mean, you look at what this guy has done with that team and the injuries that they faced. I mean, we sit around here all season long talking, whining and crying about how beat up the Chargers are and the offensive line and everything else. Hey, man, tell that to the 49ers and look where they are. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they went up there and knocked Seattle off. I mean, Seattle's got a great team. They played terrific. They've had a terrific season. Would you be surprised if the Niners won that game?
No,
not me.
I wouldn't be.
I wouldn't be.
And that's a division game. It's the third time these teams are seeing each other. That's right in line with the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. That's going to be an exciting game for sure. Yeah. Probably the most exciting game of the week.
Yeah, the thing that a lot of the reasons why for these five guys, LaFleur, Kubiak, Udinski, Clayton Adams, and Declan Doyle is, and again, some of the other
Clayton
20 they're going to get into that I'm going to get into here a little bit is they, and I think this is crucial in the addition of a new OC. How well does he fit with Justin Herbert? What is the chemistry? How well do they go together like ham and eggs, like peanut butter and jelly? That is the most important thing. For me, you have to find a guy that Justin Herbert is like, yes, right? I want him. Not, hey, we like this guy. What do you think, Herbie? No, Herbert's got to be, if not sitting in the meeting, at least like looking through a one-way window or something, right? To see how he likes this guy. They need to go have lunch, blah, blah, blah. Jim, in your radio days, did you ever do like a morning show, a team show where you worked with another person? I'm sure you did, right? Right. So that to me, I've done those shows a couple of different times, where you're like wacky morning show, blah, 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 talking about, just funny, random stories that you find, right? Yeah. You have to get along with that other person. You have to have
Chemistry.
Right? You have to understand where that other person is coming from. And I learned that lesson the hard way by working with somebody that I was friends with, but we didn't have any chemistry. It was a disaster. We had nothing in common. So the next time I went out to do that kind of a show, I said to the program director, hey, I need to go have a beer with this person, go have lunch, whatever, just so we can see if we are on the same page, just as far as our personalities. And I think that's what needs to happen right now for the Chargers, Justin Herbert, and their OC. These guys have to gel. They got to be broing down, right?
100%. 100%. There's nothing more important than Herbie and the new guy doing this. That's got to happen. That's what the problem was in this game in New England. Well, one of the problems in that New England game is the offense, and the offensive coordinator was not able to make any kind of adjustment at all. Didn't look like. And we've watched this for a couple of years, and we've sat here this whole season and say, hey, how come we don't throw the running back a little bit more? I mean, these were telltale signs that this wasn't the right offense for this quarterback under these circumstances with that lack of offensive line support. And they couldn't do anything to help him. He ran for his life. He wound up being the most sacked hit quarterback in the NFL. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Number one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's not something you want. You can't blame that all on O-line. I mean, that's about scheme and how you approach this whole thing. So, yeah, I don't think you could be any more correct in what you're saying, Pete, about the fact that this next guy, I mean, Herbert absolutely needs to be in on the decision. He's been there long enough. He knows what's going on. He should be in the room, in my opinion.
To that, we're focused on the OC, but there's a working relationship that exists right up under that, and it's your quarterback coach, right? So I go back to my Philadelphia days, the years we won the Super Bowl, even the year prior. We had Frank Wright and John DiFilippo, right? That is a working relationship between OC, quarterback, coach, and quarterback, coach, and OC. So I think your OC and your quarterback coach is just as important, right? To have an understanding of your OC and to have an understanding of your player. But to you guys' point, that relationship is something that is of the most importance. Can I mesh with this guy? Do I mesh with this guy? Carson Wentz had the best year of his career in 2017 up until he tore his ACL with John DiFilippo and Frank Wright. But that working relationship, the level of communication, the level of trust was something that as players we recognized and understood. So now sitting where I stand today, or where I'm sitting today, quite literally, just as much as it's of importance to find the right OC, you have to bring in the right quarterback coach that can be that medium between the OC and Herbert.
Well, we might have to be hiring another coordinator because people in the chat are saying the Raiders have just hired Jesse Minter. I'm looking on Google and whatnot. I don't see that it's a done deal. I see that they're interviewing Jesse Minter, which obviously we're not surprised by. So I've been bitten in the ass before by listening to the chat.
Not that long ago. Not that long ago. We was here.
I'm checking ESPN Raiders solely 760. I don't see that it's a done deal. I understand Raiders fans would love that, and I'm not going to be surprised when Jesse Minter is gone. So it's a real probability. It's a very high probability. I'm not calling you a liar, but
nothing is official yet.
I don't see that it's official, but I'm not going to be surprised when Jesse Minter is gone. That's a conversation for another squad show. This offseason is how long, KB? 7 months? 8 months?
Boy. Boy. We got time.
Right. We've been through like the 5 of these guys that are up for, or at least in the discussion for Chargers OC. We're going to get into 20 more. And a lot of these names are guys that I'm not familiar with. I'll be fair with you. So we'll dig into that after the break. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show. Pete Fox, Kenyon Barner, Jim Daniels. We're going to be doing this all off season long. So you Charger fans, keep it right here. And don't forget to check out David and Daniel, the regular Monday through Friday weekly Chargers podcasters on the Chargers YouTube channel. They go year round as well. So check them out. All right, today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by Quo. What is Quo? Well, Quo is something you need for the new year. New systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and think There has to be a better way, and there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the best upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Q-U-O, the smarter way to run your business, because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. It's no surprise Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing terms. Make this year the new year where you have, let me start over again. Make this year, no, that's not right. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free. Plus, you'll get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnfl. That's QUO.com/lockedonnfl. Today's episode also brought to you by Ultimate Quarterback. The draft pick positions are set, and so many teams are looking for their franchise QB. Ever wished to become a pro quarterback getting drafted first overall by your Chargers? Well, now you can. There's a mobile app just for you called Ultimate QB. Football legend. In this game, you step into the cleats and off of the #1 draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness, to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. Just head over to ultimatequarterback.com. That's ultimatequarterback.com, or search Ultimate Quarterback in the App Store. And we've got something special just for you guys. Use the promo code LOCKEDON, all caps, in the game store, and you'll get a free boost at the start of your career. Ultimate Quarterback, football legend, QB1. It's your legacy. All right. Locked On Chargers Squad Show. Day 1 of the offseason edition of the Chargers Squad Show. We have 20 more candidates. I don't know if we'll get to them all, but we'll get to the one on the top of the list, because it's one that we probably would put at the top of our list as a want, and that's Mike McDaniel. And, of course, Mike McDaniel is going to be sought after as a head coach. According to this story, he's already interviewed with 4 teams and interviewed with Detroit to be their OC. So for him to come in, I think is a touch out of reach. I don't know. What do you guys think about how likely that? I mean, it'd be great, right? I think he's is it a stretch to say he's a brilliant offensive mind? I don't know. That word sometimes gets overused, but definitely a competent offensive coordinator when it comes to dialing up interesting modern plays. How would you rank the probability, KB?
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Now, nothing is done until it's done. So I think the Chargers should absolutely look in that direction. We've seen what the Miami Dolphins were offensively, right, when they were healthy, even with Tua at the quarterback spot. We've seen the creativity. We've seen the explosive plays, not only in the passing game, but the run game as well. We've seen that this offense was absolutely one of the most, I would say, appeasing offenses to watch when it was at its peak. So this is something that they should definitely look at. And if they think that this is the guy, then why not go after him and make him feel like he's a guy? I don't care who's interviewing him. I don't care if whoever the champion ends up being this year. If they were to drop their OC and go after him, if you believe that this can be the guy, then go out and get him. But then again, that relationship between head coach and OC, what is your relationship with them? But I wouldn't mind. I mean, we talked about this earlier, right? When we started the conversation about getting Greg Roman up out of here and who the potential candidates could be, we talked about Mike. And so I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. I think him and Justin Herbert could be something dangerous in this AFC division.
Jim, when you think about the availability of Mike Williams to take this job, I mean, doesn't it have to be tough? I understand when you're a little bit older, but this dude's like, what is he, 30? I don't even know. He's 35. He's not very old. He's a youngster. So for him to come off of a head coaching job to take a step back as an OC, that's something you see for guys that are a little bit more run through the mill. For me, if I'm him and there's any opportunity to be a head coach again, I'm taking it, right?
No.
Why not?
Hell no. You want to go be the head coach of the Jets?
Well,
the fact that you can't find the words answers that question.
Okay, no, but I mean, to be the man is better than not being the man, right? I mean,
No, sometimes
not necessarily.
Listen, sometimes you got to take a step. You would again. Do you want to go be the head coach of the New York Jets?
Ooh,
Okay,
you
no,
keep
you got
using
me
that
there.
dirty word.
My fault, Jim. I didn't mean to jump you in line. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it definitely makes a difference. There's going to be people excited for the opportunity to play with Herbert. I don't think that everybody, every fan, every person involved in the NFL looks at the Chargers and think, oh, no, those guys are never going to win anything. I don't want to go there. I mean, you've got opportunity no matter where you go. And then you've got to look at some places that you should probably think twice about going. And the New York Jets is one of them. I mean, these guys are perpetually that's a bad apple, man. Pun intended. But there's just a couple of places that you don't want any part of. You don't want part of that owner or that mess or anything that goes with it. So, yeah, it depends on the gig.
go ahead.
What do we think about the Chargers quarterback coach, Shane? What do we feel about that? Somebody who has a relationship, somebody who's in the building already, somebody who knows Herbert, somebody who Herbert, now we don't know what the relationship is, but they haven't existed. What would we feel about him being promoted to the OC?
For me, it would come down to his ability to call plays, right? That's the biggest thing. And I to a certain degree, I kind of agree with Jim that if you aren't calling plays now, that's not great. But at the same time, if you're an OC, you have knowledge of how that all goes, and you probably have a huge desire to call the plays. So it's something that you are paying attention to, and you're kind of champing at the bit to do it, right?
Yeah,
and I like that. I like that the guy's like, give me the book, give me the headset, I'm ready to go. So, and you know, that could be said for just about anybody who's not an OC, but I think an OC who's not calling plays is probably going to be, you know, lathered up and ready to go. I like that. But, you know, I don't know. A lot of people in the chat are saying Marcus Brady just finished an interview. So, okay. People have mentioned in this list of 20 people, I don't see the name Marcus Brady, but I do see this name. It's come up in the chat a few times. Nate Scheelhaas, the Rams passing game coordinator, or Scheelhaas. I don't exactly know how you pronounce it, but a passing game coordinator. That is like definitely a step below, but that is a stepping stone to being an OC. So I don't think it's a crazy scenario. Look, they're talking about guys that are like 30 years old to be head coaches around this league because they have, you know, they have the pedigree, if you will. So Scheelhaas is 35 years old. He's gotten head coaching interviews in Baltimore, Cleveland, and Las Vegas. And he comes from the McVay tree. So
he's clearly on the radar then.
Right, exactly. So I look at that and say, okay, again, I just want chemistry, right? That's all I want. Give me a guy that understands what Justin Herbert needs, right? And you've got to be able to call more creative plays. That's what it boils down to me. When you look at these guys, when you run them through the interview process, I want to see them up on the whiteboard diagramming plays, right? And being all mad scientisty. That's what I want. Like, and I would assume that Herbert would need to be in the room watching this going, yes, getting, you know, fired up and excited about the potential. So whoever that guy is, that's the guy that I want. So here's more of this list, and you guys can stop.
Oh, wait, before you go to the list, let me just jump in. Let me jump in real quick and just say this. When it comes to you're talking about the whiteboard and stuff like that, I don't know. KB, you can speak to this better than anybody because you've been in those rooms, you've been with the teams, and you understand this. I don't know what the sophistication is for testing somebody, but I'm telling you, I'm going to have this guy is going to be in a room with a projector, and I'm going to throw plays up. I'm going to say, here it is. 4th and 1 and blah, blah, blah. What do you do? Here we are, 3rd and 3. And this is, what do you do? I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I'm going to put him in scenarios and say, what would you do? I mean, you may know what the outcome of this play was. It happened a few weeks ago. Well, I want to know, what would you do in this situation? I mean, I'm going to put them, I want to put them on the spot I want more than just whiteboard. I want to hear them articulate how they're going to overcome, a really difficult situation over and over.
I like that. I love that. I'm not in those rooms. I haven't been in those rooms, so I don't know what that interview process looks like. But you would think that the approach that you have and that you're thinking of would be the approach that GMs and owners would have when interviewing these guys to take these positions. That's a good question. I mean, again, the NFL is such a buddy system. It's such a pal system where you bring your guys in, your friends in, and the friends of your friends. So, I've had some coaches where you get in these meeting rooms and you kind of like, how did you get here? What are we doing? It's great. Like I've had people coach my position that had never ever coached my position, but they were my position coach at the NFL level. So again, it's such a buddy system. It's such I'm friends with your guy, so I'm gonna hire you. So I don't know what goes into this interview process. I would think it would be more extensive than just, hey, you're my pal, or I know your buddy, so we're gonna bring you in. I would hope what you just laid out for everybody to witness was what took place within these interview processes.
Well, Marcus Brady, obviously the offensive passing coordinator for the Chargers for the last couple years, so he's got that familiarity. And look, maybe Herbert is like, yeah, that's my guy. We get each other, stopped in Philly. He was the OC of the Colts in 21 and 22. Helped Jonathan Taylor have a stellar 21 season. So having a big running game is going to be huge for the Chargers.
Absolutely.
Regardless of who the OC is, you're going to have to figure out this running game better. And nothing against Omarion Hampton, but he can't do it all on his own, I don't think.
Well, we were never prepared to run the ball. I mean, it started with Najee Harris going out, and then Omarion Hampton got hurt, and then we had to rely on Kamani Vidal, and then they never had a reliable running game the whole damn season.
Well, we didn't have a reliable O-line to run the ball. Even in the spots where we did run the ball successfully.
And look how far they went. How far they went and how many. I mean, that's how close it was. That's why that last game is so confusing. I mean, how can you have such awful meltdown when you've overcome so much for, so many weeks before that? That was really confusing.
And I'll say this. We didn't have a level of commitment to the run game that I think this Charger team needed despite.
Agreed.
Despite how well Herbert was playing or how bad he played, it didn't matter. We didn't have a level of commitment to the run game to even really give it a chance. There were games where you had 10, 11 carries for running backs and 15 carries maybe. Games where Herbert was your leading rusher. That's never, we talked about that. That's never a good place you want to be as an offense unless you have a guy like Cam Newton who can absolutely, or Lamar Jackson who can absolutely go out there and do that. That's just not a spot you want to be in. So whoever it is and whoever comes into this place, I know that the run game has to be a priority because you're not going to win in this league without a run game.
I need to eat some crow here from Carlos Diaz. Hey, Bolts fan, just want to remind you what happened last week, especially after all the trash you were talking to us Pats fans. Well, enjoyed the couch. I need to go piss off some Texans fans.
Touche.
To the victors goes the spoils, Carlos.
Touche, Carlos.
Our job is not to come in here and talk trash about the Chargers, although we do a lot of that. Our job was not to come in here and build up the opposition. Our job is to come in here and try to find reasons why our team is going to win. So we did what we had to do. You do what you have to do.
You
Carlos.
do you.
Well, look, we appreciate you tuning in, Carlos.
Yeah,
we appreciate you tapping in, my guy.
Yeah, absolutely. After your team won and you're moving on, have fun. Locked On Texans Squad Show. Or maybe you go to the Pats Squad Show. That might be better suit for you.
Nah, that's no fun.
He's a trash talker. I love it. All right, cool. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. When we come back, we're going to talk about another guy that got the old pink slip, the old heave-ho from the Chargers coaching staff after this. All right, today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by Home Chef. As the new year gets going, a lot of people are trying to simplify their routines, and dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, and packed schedules, Having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. That's where Home Chef comes in, and boy, isn't that true. The making of the dinner is not always the hard part. It's the deciding what to make is the bigger obstacle. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes that actually taste great. They're rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease, and it's easy to see why. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering listeners of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Just healthy food and free dessert. Just go to homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. All right. We are trying to find the new Chargers offensive coordinator, and the Chargers need to find a new offensive line coach. Not really surprised that Mike Devlin got the heave-ho. I was surprised a little bit and encouraged to see that they did not fire Nick Hardwick along with him. Nick is a guy I used to work with down in San Diego, obviously longtime center for the Chargers, for Phillip Rivers. And this is his first first coaching stint in the NFL. So I believe it was he came along with Harbaugh. So this was his second year. And the couple stories I read about Devlin being fired was they were all encouraged that they didn't fire Nick as well. Maybe Nick becomes the offensive line coach moving forward. I don't know. Stranger things have happened. We've been talking about it. Like these guys with little to no experience are getting, getting run for being head coaches or OCs or whatever. So I don't want to put it all on Devlin, but I get it. Right. It makes sense. Some of it had to be scheme because there were times when these guys were just getting beat left, right, and center. And there was a lot of injuries and, a lot of talk all season long about the problems with the offensive line. But, here's the thing, KB, tell me if I'm crazy to think this. When I see a professional athlete lose his job or a professional football coach lose their job, I don't feel all that bad for them. It's not like a guy down at the, the hardware store losing his job. These guys get paid. And a lot of times when these guys get fired, they've got contracts. And those contracts keep them getting paid. And if you're not a moron, that kind of money will last you a long time. So I don't feel bad that Mike Devlin got fired. I'm sorry.
I listen.
Job or he whatever. It's like whatever. I don't feel bad. I'm sorry. When any of these guys get fired, John Harbaugh after 19 years gets fired. So what? Who cares? He's fine. He can ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, it's some, right? Here's the thing about coaches and players, they're a little bit different for me because a coach's contract is guaranteed. Whatever that contract is, however that contract will be paid out for a player, unless you have guaranteed money on the books. Once you're cut, you're cut. There's done with you. There's no money coming in. And on any level, for me, I as I said about Greg Roman last week, I never want to call for a guy's job regardless, because you don't know if another opportunity will come. I think it's much easier for your average day worker to go get a job in the world than it is for a coach or a player to find a job at the professional level. I think at the end of, for a player, I'll put the numbers in perspective for you. I want to get the numbers right, but at the end of training camp, there will have been somewhere between, I think, 1,500 players cut, right? And that's not counting the amount of guys that didn't get drafted, right, and weren't free agent signings. So there's a pool of guys, and that's not counting the guys that are trying to get back into the league from the season before that were cut, that weren't on the roster. So it's a hell of a lot harder for a player to lose his job because you just don't know. There's a level of uncertainty. And then for some of these coaches, I was actually on Bible study last night with the running back coach from the Arizona Cardinals who just lost his job, Autry. And you just don't know where your next stop will be. You don't know if you'll get another opportunity. My running back coach and that I had out in Tampa, I won't I won't. T-Mac, Todd, that's my guy. I'm gonna say it. T-Mac had been coaching for some years, but got fired. But I don't know if another opportunity never came or he just didn't want it. But T-Mac's not coaching anymore, and so it again on any level you hate for any, especially in the day and age that we live in today. I don't want nobody to lose their job, but for a player and a coach, it's kind of two completely different firings. Unless you have money on the books. If a team fires you, Pete, and you have guaranteed money, I have to pay whatever remaining dollar amount is still in that contract to you as a player. But for me, who was a year-to-year guy, once I got cut, the well ran dry. And so there you are. You hope that you're taking care of your money. But at the end of the day, you don't have to be spending a whole lot of money for your money to go away unless you know how to invest it. And sometimes a lot of these guys don't have that. They don't have that knowledge or don't know how. So, it's a tricky spot. It's a tricky situation.
Yeah, that's a good point about the players, because for all of the guys that spent 4 or 5 years in the league and then got washed out, there is as many or more that didn't even make it that far, right?
And the money, like, we can talk about that. Like, a guy signs $1 million contract. It's not $1 million. It's not $1 million. I'll go. My rookie contract, I think, was my first year was $405,000. Of that $405,000, I only seen maybe 250, 265, which is that's still money, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, but people see these NFL contracts and see these godly numbers, and they're like, "Oh no, you're making." No, I'm not. I'm not saying that at all, and especially for a Chargers player or a Charger coach who plays in the state of California, where half of your money is gone. You're not going to see half of that. So just for the fans out there who don't know, like, be mindful. Like, when we're looking at these contracts and we see these huge numbers, this isn't the NBA. We aren't getting that full contract. We aren't getting that thing. We aren't getting that full amount like that. So just want to put that out there.
Well, and there's taxes and agent and a whole lot of people.
You got to pay union due. Like you said, your agent is taking 3%. Your marketing agent is taking 10 to 15. Like, there's a whole lot that comes out of these contracts that's never discussed. But yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot.
No, it's all good, fair points. And I'm not trying to say negative things about these guys that have been fired. I look at it. And
I got you.
I just I like to add a different perspective, because I think most people feel like you do, right? They either feel sorry for the guy who got fired, or they feel that everyone is rich from being in the NFL, and it's always kind of in the middle, right? It's not. Yeah. They're not all rich, and I don't always feel sorry for the guy. I look at each individual situation and say, well, he spent a good amount of time in the league and he got paid during that period of time, and more than most people. The thing about being a professional coach specifically is the amount, and I always tip my cap to any professional coach, the amount of moving that they have to do throughout their career is insane. So pick a coach from any team in any league and go look at their Wikipedia and count how many times these guys have moved from here to there to here to there to here, and they got to pack up the whole family and 8, 9, 10 times. It's rare that you find a guy that's moved like 3 or 4 times and had a good career. It's very rare, and I always just am amazed by that. Real quick, one final thing here before we wrap up. The name that is popping up a lot, that is a former head coach that people think in the chat would fit well, is Brian Dable. What do you guys think about that thought?
I don't want it.
Wow, no hesitation there.
I don't want it.
Really?
Why not?
Want it. Did you not see what the New York Giants look like?
Well, they beat the Chargers.
They did, but did you see what they look like?
Yeah, not very
listen. A broken clock is right. What do they say? Twice a day?
Twice a day.
Twice a day? I wouldn't want that. No. I seen nothing from the New York Giants offense or defense that would make me say, hey, let's give him a shot. Now, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I will gladly admit that I'm wrong. But no, I don't want it. No.
I'm going to pile on this too, and it's got nothing to do with the way the team performed. I don't like the way the guy acts on the sideline. You got to control your emotions better than that. You can't be rolling your eyes when somebody fumbles or somebody misses a play or runs a punt back or something like that. He's not emotionally stable enough to be a head coach.
You cooking, Jim.
Fair point.
You cooking.
Fair point. I don't like the fact. I want some, like, how would I describe this best? I want somebody who is a contemporary of Justin Herbert. I want these guys to be bros. Like, Dable's 50, right? And I don't see him and Herbert kind of bonding and gelling. And that's what I want. I want a young, inspiring, innovative type of coach, right? And we've gone through a long list. And to me, there's plenty of options out there of guys that are current OCs and that are not getting the play calling ability that they desire and crave. And then there's, these passing game coordinator guys that are the Mike Williams of the world that didn't play any football, but like know the game backwards and forwards. So I like that aspect. And I agree with that to a certain extent, Jim. Your point about him just kind of being a little bit maybe immature, I guess. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I don't think we need that either. So, that's fair. Those are all fair points. So
I don't want a drama queen that I've got to babysit. I mean, crying out loud. I mean, we're sitting here wish list talking about Mike McDaniel, but yeah, you're right. When you say you want somebody to bro out, this makes me want to ask KB. I always default to you, man, because you wore the shoes and you walk the walk. I mean, do you guys talk about, man, we got like in the off season, you guys say you guys are out, skiing or whatever. And it's like, man, we have the best coordinator. This young guy comes up with the great ideas, blah, blah. Do you guys talk like that?
You in some cases, yeah. You absolutely, when you got somebody that you, like you said, that you rock with and that recognizes who you are and can relate to you on the level that you're at, and you can relate to them, it's a completely different working relationship. I'll go back to T-Mac out there in Tampa Bay. That was my guy. That was absolutely my guy, but we understood each other and he understood everybody in the room. So it's, again, that connection piece. That connection piece is huge. Oftentimes, you won't have that necessarily with your head man. But when you're talking about somebody that you're going to be dealing with every single day, day in and day out in your meeting rooms, your head man isn't really one meeting a day, and that's your team meeting. Unless he's popping in to see how these different meetings are being ran, you're really dealing with your head coach once a day on the practice field, closing meeting of the day, and that's it. But you're in these meetings every single day, multiple times a day with your OC, with your position coach. So that working piece is a huge proponent to a team success.
Here's a name that's kind of interesting. Jason Michael, Eagles tight ends coach, former quarterback at Western Kentucky under Harbaugh's dad, Jack. Michael coached the Chargers before. See,
y'all talking about buddy system.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Buddy, we don't know. Listen, go get Mike McDaniels.
Thank you.
Point blank period. Go get Mike. Go get Mike, or go get one of them young cats from the Rams or from the 49ers, and let's get this offense looking like it could, because you have the pieces. You have everything you need at every skill spot for this offense to be one of the top offenses in the NFL. You have everything you need in that building for this offense to be one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. You have everything you need in a quarterback in Justin Herbert. He has the arm, he has the legs, he has the mental awareness and capacity to make this offense be something great. Go get somebody that can help mentally get Herbert where he needs to be. Cliff is another guy that can relate. Listen, the dude was with Johnny Manziel, okay? So you know that how he can relate. So let's go get somebody that can fire this locker room up, but also somebody who could take Justin Herbert to a completely different level mentally and get him over that hump in the playoffs, because that's what we need.
Boom.
I think that's the perfect place to wrap up today, because that's exactly my final question was going to be, how important is it to the success of this team that the OC and Justin Herbert click? I think it's
top.
There's nothing more important.
100%. That is the most important thing. And as a Charger fan, that's what you should be watching over the next week or two. Who's the OC? Who are the OC candidates, and who becomes the OC? Because if they miss on this one,
you can't.
You just can't afford to miss. It has to be the right fit, and I don't know if it's reading tea leaves or just having a beer, Maybe we ask Justin Herbert's girlfriend if she has any thoughts on the idea.
Careful.
Because it's never bad to ask her and talk to her about things. So, she might come up with an interesting angle that we haven't thought about. So, but the fact is that it's crucial. It is 100% imperative that they not whiff on this decision. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be focusing on here over the next, what is that, a cat or a dog?
Say what's up, Ace.
Oh, it's a
Say what's up, Ace.
Is that a Pomeranian?
Yeah, a little Pomeranian.
Oh, very nice. Look at you, the bougie dog. Well, our first off-season show, I think, A+. Maybe
A-. I like it. Went well.
All right, good guys. That's going to do it for us here today. The Locked On Chargers squad show for Kenyon Barner, 10 years in the league. Jim Daniels, I am Pete Fox. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate the comments as always. And when we talk next week, maybe we'll have a decision. But let's just hope they don't rush into anything as they decide who their next OC is. It's the Locked On Chargers squad show. And again, don't forget to check out David and Daniel Monday through Friday. We'll be here a couple of times a week as we go through the offseason. Take care, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk to you next week. See you.